all ready to go? So Forsyth Township Board of
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First of all, I want to thank all of the people that came to the meeting tonight. It's nice to see a group of people because it's something that we'd like to see us change. I appreciate any input that you can bring to us because the public is what we're here to serve. So thank you for all coming, and we'll continue on with the meeting. Roll call, please.
Jordine. Yes. Roberts. Present. Armani.
Yes.
Manelli.
Yes.
Hartzell. Present. All present.
Approval of the minutes of April 26th. Any corrections or deletions on that one? All three at one time. May 24th. June 11th. Hearing no corrections or deletions, I need a motion to have approved the minutes as presented. Motion made by Maddie, supported by Nadine. Any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. If we go too fast, tell us to slow down. I had a comment from town that we move through these meetings pretty fast and people can't quite stay with us. So if we're going too fast, feel free to slow us down. Public comment. We'll start off with this fun table right here. Yes.
Hi, my name is Sarah Derwin, and I'm from the Marquette County Health Department. I'm a health educator in substance abuse and tobacco prevention. I also live here in Blaine on the corner of Smith and Anthony, so happy to be here at the meeting. I've lived here about 3 years now, and I love it. So the reason that I'm here today is talking about an initiative that we're working on at the health department. It's for tobacco-free parks and beaches. We're trying to talk with cities and other local townships and municipalities to consider adopting an ordinance that would make any areas, beach areas, or parks that they maintain tobacco-free. Some of our reasoning on that, especially with the parks area, is just it being such an area for kids and families that promoting a healthy lifestyle. I know since I've lived here, especially with a toddler and another one on the way, the park is a big part of our life. And you would think people wouldn't smoke there and wouldn't litter, but it does happen, and quite a bit. I'm more surprised to see it on the ground, especially with the toddler. They'll put anything in their mouths, you know that. So, the litter factor, the kids factor, for some of those reasons. Also fire danger, in light of the last couple of years, it seems like fire danger has been really high, and cigarette butts can contribute to that too. So, I have a packet for each of you, and you can kind of look through it. It has some different signs, some ordinances that other areas in Michigan have adopted, and just some other things for you to consider. And if you have any questions, you can definitely get a hold of me, or if you have any questions now, we get me.
How many townships or cities have adopted your ordinance?
In Marquette County?
Yes.
None yet.
Oh, okay.
So we haven't really gotten around to as many places as we would have liked. So I figured I would start local where I live because it makes a little bit more sense because it's the community I utilize the most. We've talked to Sam's Township and they're considering it, and probably be up to vote in July. So
Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Any more people? Yes.
Hi, my name is Kaylee Place. I'm here on behalf of Tony Mataski, who is a Democratic candidate for state representative. Unfortunately, Tony couldn't make it tonight. He had to help his daughter move over in Minnesota. But I'm just here to kind of listen to your concerns and then speak with Tony about them. We are hoping to make your next meeting as well so Tony can be here and speak to you all himself. I do have some literature here if anybody is interested. I can hand it out at the end of the meeting or place it on the table back here. But I'm here and happy to answer any questions or hear any concerns. So thank you.
Next table behind. Yes, sir.
Joe, thank you. My name's Rob Paulson, and I'm a candidate for Marquette County Probate Judge, and I wanted to come here and win tonight. to introduce myself to those of you I don't know, there's a few familiar faces, and to talk not just about myself, but about probate court. I was born in Ishpeming and raised out on the family farm in Tilton Township. Graduated from Westwood High School, went on to Northern, graduated from there. Left the area for 3 years, went to law school down in Indiana, and then returned, and I've been in private practice at Stewart and Sheridan in Ishpeming for the last 24 years. A great deal of practice I do is in probate court. I call probate court cradle to grave court because you run the gamut from infants, toddlers, adolescents, and teenagers in child protective proceedings. You deal with parents in child protective proceedings. You deal with teenagers in delinquency proceedings. You deal with people of all ages in guardianships and conservatorships and mental health proceedings. And you deal with all members of a family in the estates of decedents. That's the kind of work that I do. That's what I mean by it is the family court in Marquette County. I'm not going to stand here tonight and tell you about all my professional credentials. I've got a nice little flyer that outlines that, and I'm going to stick around during the meeting. I'd be happy to speak to you, any of you, after the meeting. But when I decided to do this, an older woman I know gave me 2 very good bits of advice when speaking to people about the job and my interest in the job. Number 1, they said, be yourself. The second thing she told me is tell people what is important to you about the job that you are seeking. To me, what is important is you have someone with an understanding not just of the family court, but of a family as well. My wife and I are celebrating 26 years of marriage today. I promised her I wouldn't be too late so I could take her out for ice cream and a walk tonight. And we've raised 2 beautiful kids to adulthood who do us proud. So, again, thank you for allowing me to introduce myself to you tonight, and I'll be sticking around for the meeting. I'll talk to any of you who'd like to speak with me. Thank you very much.
Happy anniversary.
Thanks, man.
Very bad last roll back there. Okay, starting front row here. Anything?
I'm Marilyn Lowe. Mike and I live at 246 North Ash. I'm here complaining again about the dilapidated property at 243 North Ash. I originally submitted my first complaint in September 2010. I was here before the board last year and presented pictures and further complaints, and nothing to date has been done. There's still a hole under the house where the foundation is. The metal roof flaps every time the wind blows. The windows are open. Nobody lives there. What can we do about it?
Henry, is that the one that just applied for the building permit?
Yes, sir.
So you just applied for a building permit, so we have to make the assumption that he's going to do his restoration project.
You've got a bunch of blocks there, isn't there?
Right. He was going to put a foundation on there.
Those blocks have been
I
sitting
know,
there for
I've watched it
years.
for a year. Yeah, I know, I have too. He just picked up a building permit, so I'm making an assumption after he picks a building permit.
So do they have so many months from the time they apply for the
You can answer
building
that,
permit?
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
And what is that?
Well, the zoning permit lasted, was it 18, year and a half, or so, yeah, 18 months.
So they don't have to do anything between now and 18 months?
The permit will expire.
So is this just something to delay the process?
I have spoken to this gentleman at least twice, and he has been responsive when I have tried to contact him. And he has gone to the site at least twice to do something, I believe. Now, I did
You want to know what he's done?
Well, I think he did make the house less entry.
Well, they put a snow fence around it.
Okay, yeah.
That's what's been done in 2 years, besides digging out the basement.
Okay, and there was some work on windows upstairs that were also...
They're still open?
Nothing done.
No, the metal roof, every time the wind blows, in the middle of the night, And that's been going on for over a year. So that's what makes me wonder what his intention is of applying for a building permit, if it's just to delay the process for another 18 months.
It doesn't make sense that he would do that for that reason. And I don't have the impression he's doing it for any malicious reason. I have the impression that he may have gotten behind. And I am defending him here, but I have also been pushing on him. And at least he has not ignored me in terms of responding. And I think that getting a permit is some evidence that he intends to fix the property up so he can sell it and benefit from it. I urge you to keep on making your complaints. And
Oh, you're sure of that?
I will keep on getting after him if he does not respond.
We sent it off to the attorney, when was it, some time ago. I mean, it goes in, and he takes it from that point and it goes on.
I know, I got copies of letters that's gone back and forth, but like I said, this is an awful long process.
You're right.
And I have to open my curtains every day and look at it.
I'm sorry for that. When you get to listening to me talking about my report, I'll talk about the person I sued, and he did do what needed to be done. But the township also has some limited resources, and I can't sue everybody who's got a zoning violation.
Well, I'm not expecting anybody to sue anybody, but...
So that's all that I have.
That's the only alternative.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Well, I have another question. The property right next door to that is now up for Marquette County tax sale.
Yes.
If that property does not sell, what happens to it? Who maintains the grass and...
The county. The county does. What we agreed into is that if we have the manpower, we will cut the grass for the county, and they'll reimburse us back for the grass cutting. So, I mean, she has, I think, 3 properties, but she feels that property will sell. I mean, I hope it sells to a person that moves in. This doesn't sell to try to make a quick turn on $1, because there's people out there that just try to make it. But it will still, if the county has it, at least we have somebody that's to be somewhat responsible for cutting the grass and doing some maintenance on it.
It may encourage homeownership and adjacent owners buying that property for the very reasons you're talking about.
I hope the Johnsons don't buy it.
Next table.
Leonard Rodriguez Jr. from Little Lake. I'm just inquiring about the status of the broken street lights that are on the M35.
I'm glad you brought that. Back when they put the lights on in Little Lake, they had the line crew from Sawyer put them in along with volunteers. Upco, who I've been dealing with, will not take responsibility to replace those lights. The township has no means of being able to replace those lights. So my next move, after I talked to a company called Fox in Gladstone, who is up there doing some work for the city of Nagani, we're supposed to stop back and talk to him. He didn't. My next move is to see if I can find the city of Nagani or city of Marquette, because we have no means. Upco will not do it because it's not their stop.
Did anybody file an insurance claim?
Yes. Well, we've got the insurance information. We haven't filed the claim because we haven't got the work done. As soon as the work gets done, we'll file the claim. But trying to get somebody to do the work, the line school, I met with, who runs the line school up there? Jerry LePage. Met with Jerry LePage last year, and because the primary is so close to the light, they don't want to have the young linemen do the work. Okay. I was a journeyman lineman myself, but because I don't have high voltage line gloves, I don't want to take a chance either, because if that pole slides at all on that cable, runs into that primary, I'm dead. If I had rubber gloves like you have in the industry, you're okay. But the biggest problem right now is trying to find a company that will come in and do the work, because you have Forsyth Township owning the poles, Upco owning the electrical side of it. We can't tap into Upco without Upco doing it. So you get between this. Why didn't Upco take the system, or when they transferred, they wouldn't take that streetlight system over, because they don't have that in their inventory. And so that's where I'm at right now. My next move is to see if I can get the city of Nagani. It's no cost to the township, because we have the insurance companies who hit the polls, we have their names, but it's just trying to find a company today that will do line work, and being such a small project, it's really difficult. And my next move is to see if City Marquette will do it or City Nagano. But that's where I'm at. I mean, I've been pulling my hair out because it's been 2 years.
So Alco won't contract out for that kind of work?
They will not contract for that work. I've gotten to the point of talking to, my next move is going to talk to Mr. Boyle up there. That's his name, the Vice President up in, that's there. But he's controlled strictly by Green Bay. Controlled strictly by Green Bay. And we had him, at one time he set the pole, and he took the pole down. It was a line goal.
But the township actually owns the pole. The township actually pays the power for it.
We own the wire going right to the secondary. And we have no means of finding out where there's a break in that wire, because we don't have the equipment to do that. And so we're trying to find an independent company, like Johnny would come down, if I get them, they'll set the pole, they'll fix the wire, but they can't tap the wire up to his line. You can't go into somebody else's line. So one of those ones that, if you're frustrated, I am too, because it's not a big job trying to find some company to do it. So, in back. Yes.
I'm going to read mine, if that's okay. It's easier for me.
Sure.
Okay. My name is Brenda Veal. I'm here tonight to voice my concerns about the neighbors. My neighbors who live across the street from me at 178 and 180 North Maple Street. This is the yellow duplex home that is right after the big house on the curb by the clubhouse. Between the two sides of the duplex, I'm not even sure how many people live there. I was told that one of the women who lives there does not pay rent, but has just stayed there. There are at least 3 children living there between the 2 homes that I've seen. My concern and outrage is the fact that since living there have been several occurrences of screaming, loud profanity, fighting, etc., that have usually taken place during the day and at night, but for the whole neighborhood to hear and see. One of the last times was at the beginning of this month. It happened at 12:30 in the morning. It was very loud and it was very frightening. I did call the police and they responded. I do not know what was done about this particular incident or any of the previous ones. I've seen a police car there several times over the last few months. And as a close neighbor of these people, I know that I'm very tired of putting up with this time and time again. And this is just the latest resident in this duplex who have caused these kinds of disturbances over the years. We have lived on Maple Street for the last 25 years. This used to be a nice, quiet neighborhood until that house was sold to a man in Marquette, I believe. This man's name is Roger Bleckner, and in my opinion, he is nothing more than a slumlord. Every 6 to 9 months, there are different families living in the 2 sides of the duplex. When one moves out or is evicted, another family moves in, and they are usually worse than or as bad as the people who moved out. And this has been going on for several years now, like I said. I am very concerned about the welfare of the children that are living in this house, as there is obvious domestic abuse. The woman who is staying there, that is not paying rent, I've been told, was hit by the woman who is renting, giving her a black eye, and the former boyfriend is currently in jail. This is not a good environment for these children to be living in, and I have heard that CFS has been called on several occasions as well. I have attempted to call Mr. Bleckner a few times to voice my concerns to him about what's going on there. I have never once been able to talk to him because each time I called, his mother answers the phone and screams, "Oh!" She tells me that he has a right to rent to whomever he wants and then hangs up on me. And of course, he has never returned one of my calls. As a taxpayer of this township, I feel that this is totally unacceptable. And I am very tired of putting up with neighbors who continue to create these kinds of disturbances time and time again. None of the neighbors around this home should have to put up with this either. With our community center being so close by, I am in awe that something has not been done about this situation sooner. So I would like to know what can be done about this problem. I have recently heard that these people are possibly going to move out, although I don't know for sure that this is true or not. So here we go again. Who are the next neighbors going to be that we get to listen to screaming at each other, fighting, swearing, and God knows what else? Something needs to be done about this landlord who owns this home and who is responsible for what is going on there. Enough is enough. Thank you.
Thank you. I think the chief is right here. And I think you heard your comments on it. I presume that he will pursue that as far as he possibly can. And just let us know if it continues and keep calling the cops. And that's the only thing we can do is Chief, if you want to speak to it, you're welcome to it.
We're getting called there all the time, we're pulling people out of there left and right, but we can't take them out. We'd love to run them down, it'd be great. We won't have all another batch comes in.
So just keep calling and putting the pressure on to maybe the landlord will eventually realize that the people don't. It's just one of those ones. Keep informing us, that's about all I can ask you to do. Keep calling the police department and we'll keep trying to work on it.
It's just too bad. Like I said, it is a nice street and it's a nice neighborhood except for that house.
Back row.
I'm Lenny Bonita Senior. I live on 1724 East M35. The streetlights. Are the streetlights metered? How does the township pay the utility?
The ones in Little Lake, I believe, are set on a set rate. The ones in Gwynn are all metered, but the ones in Little Lake have a set rate because we pay less for the Little Lake because we own the poles and they maintain the bulbs.
Okay. Well, we have 6 out of 24 that haven't worked in the last 3 months.
Which one?
6 out of 13 that don't work.
You got 6 out to, okay, then
6 out of 13
okay.
that
What I need to have is the pole numbers, or just tell me which ones, and I'll ask the chief if he can have the night crew pick up the poles that the lights are. You have to notify us, and we call up, and if it isn't an underground burnout, I don't believe it's probably just a bulb, they'll come back and do it within 3 days.
I'm assuming, Joe, they are 2 of course are out, and the other 4 bulbs haven't been worked out for months.
I would assume that would be it, that we'd have to be, street lights.
But it seems like a waste of money that we've been paying many months, 6 lights at $12 or $13 or $14 a piece.
The 3 lights that are out, we're not paying them. Because I know right away the 2 poles are those do it in the number 1 pole. The number 1 pole light is not working either, and so that one we're not being charged. So that we're not being charged for because it's not our fault. I mean, so the other ones, whenever you see those on Main Street, anybody sees them, call us and we can get the pole number. If not, the police department can, then we can up put it in and change it.
Very good, thank you.
You can kind of like troop it out there and let us know if it doesn't get done by next week, or just give me a call.
Sure.
Somebody can go and call me on it. I appreciate it. Last row. Any questions? Front row. Chuck.
Well, I'd like to comment on 2 things. I'm a resident of Sawyer. My name's Chuck Truitt. I was working on my grandson's go-kart, and I just barely made it. I apologize for it. We had the county paid for restocking Little Trout Lake with trout and bluegills. You're all welcome to come out and fish. Nice trout in there. And we turned it into a bit of a party for kids. We worked with this board. We worked with the police chief, the bouncy house. It was a tremendous success. We probably had between 400 and 700 people that were there on that Saturday. It was on a 19th. So next year, the chief was there, many of the other board members. So next year, I suggest when we have that, you guys come on out. It's a lot of fun. The other thing is, we've been working on the park, along with the help of the board, at the corner of Air Cobra and Banshee. I invite everybody, including the board, to come on out and take a look and see what we've got going on. The kids are crawling out of the woodwork. They're like ants all over this new playground. We're not finished, but there's a lot of volunteers, and with the help of the board, and I really sincerely like to thank you folks. You've been great. We're getting some really good things going on at Sawyer. Come on out and take a look. Don't push in the line. Wait your turn to get up on this line.
We want to thank you for all the volunteers that you get out there also, because it was for public works. I think we know where Eric would be rather than still be trying to get out there. So I mean, approve the agenda. I'd like to add 2 things. 10J Boulevard and 10K employee. Any other additions? And I need a table 10I credit card. So I'll table that one this week. Yeah, we have, yes.
Public services, the public works, there was a air compressor for the garage, and motor for a pickup. See that air compressor you got down there, only was up on the front there.
Is that it? Add those two?
All I can think of right now.
Anybody else?
Yes,
Okay.
I would like to add, our water project. I would like to add our water project, because I think, budget discussion.
I got a discussion down there.
I want to see about having another public meeting, at least one, probably two, one at Sawyer and one in town.
Discussion.
I don't think a water project.
Yeah.
We picked that, I got it under water system projects, under discussion. Any other additions? Hearing none, need a motion to go ahead and approve the agenda with the additions. Motion by Armatic, supported. All in favor? Any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Department reports. We have an ambulance, fire department, police department, and senior citizens. They all have action items, so we'll pick them up under the action items. Any questions under the zoning, clubhouse, library, parks, public works? If none, I will take a motion to that and approve the department reports, except for the action items.
I'll make a motion to approve the department reports.
Support. Motion made and supported. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none. Treasury report.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the treasurer's report as explained.
Motion made and supported. All in favor, any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. First action item is the countertops last meeting.
Attorney's
Oh,
report.
excuse me. Here, getting myself here. Thank you, Judy.
I'll be short. We've got two lawsuits left. The Winkler suit, which hasn't gone to the initial scheduling conference that's coming up, and Meteorite is in the same, even newer category, so nothing to report on those. The Westman lawsuit, I have voluntarily dismissed because after they were served with the complaint, they corrected the violation. They went out and offense now, so talked to an attorney, she didn't file an answer, and we dismissed the lawsuit, so that can happen. We had an unemployment appeal with our employee who was let go, and that reversed the determination and denied benefits after a hearing. I telephoned with an administrative law judge. He listened to us, he listened to her, and very shortly after that they got a decision, and he reversed her award and said we can get it because her conduct was, if it wasn't intentional, it was bad enough to fire her for. And as I understand that, the case goes on through the criminal process in the circuit court now. Tucson, the site, he has mostly cleaned it up. I stopped there on the way back from Escanaba this week, one afternoon, it was the day before yesterday, and there's been significant progress there, a lot. There are still a number of things there, but I think that the great majority of junk has been removed, and that's, I think, often the top priority right now. But at the end, we will have to come back up with me and take a look and argue about some key things.
We won't release that $5,000 that we have on them.
Well, it's kind of good faith escrow still, and we haven't done anything formal, and I'm not asking the board to do anything formal yet, but I am reporting that there was a lot done, and so I think we really need to do there. The Salvation Army has come back to us and expressed some interest in buying that property. I think that's something that the board will have to consider here over a little while, and I'll get more information on that. And then I've been talking with Joe about possibly hiring an appraiser, because we have a whole bunch of tax appeals now going to the tax tribunal, and some of them are serious business. So I've contacted 2 appraisers, and they have been submitting rough estimates for their services, and there's even the possibility of doing something instead of just going to fight, and possibly having an appraiser go to meet with them, and possibly talking about Henry, or me and Henry, talking with some of the folks who are planning all the appeals to try to come to some middle ground instead of doing the tax tribunal craziness.
Do we have any kind of an idea of the dollar loss would be, Henry, on tax tribunals? Do we have any kind of an idea how much is the township will lose on these?
No, because the petitioners indicated a value, but there was no support to that value. It was just something out of the sky, and there's no way, no proof to back it up. So whether the tribunal will accept that or not, I don't know. But it depends on what we come back as respondents in our appraisals. It's hard to tell.
It's typically a very long process. If you're going to the full tribunal, the tax tribunal is a 2 or 3 year deal in terms of their docket right now. So that's not immediate. That's all I have. Thank you. Yes.
We're putting a hose over here in the river, near the slowly already coming.
Okay.
And the people, they're putting a hole in down there. I went in there for some, I looked all the way, I spent before they even were over, but they got 100-foot hose or 100-foot trailers coming in there. Now, there's no machine traveling, that's part of it, so it's real road. Now, can we block that off or no?
All right. We were talking about the DNR snowmobile trail that was built in conjunction with the bridge that crosses the river.
Yeah.
And these people are going to block that trail?
Well, we got a hose coming in, and they're going to use that road now all winter, they're going to live there. So that's on their property, and I don't know, if there's any kind of a...
They have to honor an easement, they bought the property subject to the easement.
I don't know what that easement is going to be.
If it's the DNR easement, I thought we had the easement and the barrier stretch was the only issue we had there for a while.
I don't know, Henry,
Well, there's some other issues. Right now, they cannot live there because if they live there, it would be a zoning violation. It can only be used for seasonal use. And I explained it to those people right off the top.
Did they pull a permit?
Yes, they did. But it said seasonal only.
Yeah, they're going to go home, or the whole house is going to be in this week down there.
Is it a seasonal only?
Well, I don't think it's seasonal. I mean, you can call it what you want, I guess. But I was wondering, because I talked to Don Britton, and he wanted contact with DNR through that trailer. But now, I think it's working, and we're going to have to block that. We're going to have to, we can't use the bikes on the road, it's going to work, you know what I mean? We use 90-foot trailers on there. And my wife had a roof, so I said, I don't know, you guys don't care about that. Anyway, and I've been in there and all, because when the trucks are not ready, well, all they're in there cutting back on the road again. I don't know what to tell people. I'm just concerned when I miss work, dirt like it's going to come right off water, run into the road, or run into me.
If you're going to be having heavy equipment and you got the possibility of serious injury, I would say start getting some orange fencing and do some marking at least up the river or downriver or both as to, some kind of...
They're coming in from Crestview, and they're coming in from Winger, and I heard the one, I was in there the other day, and it was like we're going.
Get access to some of that orange plastic.
Well, I was thinking I get the new sign, but Okay, every time.
The signs at least, if you want to slow them down because you don't want someone to get hurt there.
And then once they get in there, it's gonna be there all summer, so they got traffic coming there right there and all of that, you know.
Well, Henry, looks like you're going to have another.
Well, Kevin, looks like
Well, I don't know, I talked to Don, and Don said that he's trying to get money from the yard, move the trail. But that was straight through my husband, I called him again to find out what's going on. It's still gonna be on their property, the trail, they don't have a problem. They'll let them go through their property, but they don't want them going up that road, because that's the road they're doing.
So tell Don I'm happy to work with him, whatever we can do.
I got some sense of it. And now they're getting it all caught up again. You know, all bad it was in there, you've been in there too. I mean, I got a nice down, I was even out here when they got no problem, so about that. And now that they're yesterday, and now they're cleaning all that, yeah.
Well,
Okay.
Henry got some work cut out for him yesterday. People that bought property that doesn't know it's seasonal will be in here next November wondering why. Approval of the bills and vouchers. Treasurer?
I'll make a motion that we approve the bills and vouchers, the total of $48,159.63, and that they pay them.
Motion made and supported. Any other discussions? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, hearing none, motion carries. Action items. This is down to the countertops. We had some bids on the countertops, and Schwabbox came in the lowest bid. They came in very, very good. We had two bids. One was for $64.65.
That's not right. 64, 65 includes tempered glass for the reception area and plate glass for
The 3,800 is the top. Yeah, 3,800, and Schwabbox came in at 28.55. So I think Schwabbox is the lowest. Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion that we accept the bid from Selma at $2,855.
Clark, motion made, supported. Any other discussions?
Yep.
Yes.
When I was looking at the proposed workstation where our newest employee is currently had some problems with the design of it, and I think that that needs to be fixed before these countertops get done.
I think
So I need to take a look at it.
we had Schwabbox come in, Sherry, or Stacy, didn't we have them come in and had some options out there for her? Because when you called me on it, I wanted to look, yes, she would be working on this, but what they're going to do is they're going to bring some not countertops, but they're going to be like desktop things that they're going to roll into it. And then that way she'll get much more comfortable.
Okay, and that will be included in this price here?
No, the countertops that they took, what we have now, and now will go in, but she's going to have like a roll, it's going to roll over.
In addition?
Yeah, and then that way she can.
Say no, it's not.
Is it permanent?
Yeah.
It's going to be a slide out.
Last I heard, yeah.
So we are going to correct that situation that she had apartment done in 6 weeks.
There's not too much workspace there. I could never work there. I mean, I need space when I work.
Motion made and supported. Any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Next item
Now, do we
is
have to approve the price of gas or the glass too?
not at this time.
Not at this time?
Not this time.
So we're going to get...
We only have one estimate on the glass.
Okay, so we're going to get another estimate on it.
The Parker Metza Tour Park Cedar siding. We have some estimates here, which this has been. Did Jake get a hold of you, Eric?
No, but I talked to Ken.
Oh, you talked to Kenny on it, that anytime we're over $1,000, we need three bids on it.
Yep.
And they went out, Eric went out and had 3 bids in 41 Lumber, Ace Hardware, and Paul Soroyas, and Paul has lowest bid of $3,500 for 13 squares of cedar siding, and we need a motion to go ahead and purchase the 13 squares. This is reimbursable, isn't it, Lynn, from that grant?
It's part of the park.
Part of the park grant money, so we're saving quite a bit of money here because Paul has it, and it's the same stuff that's on the Peter Hardin Pavilion, Eric, is that what it was?
Yeah, this is a little wider,
A
but
little bit wider, so
number 1 cedar.
it's all number 1 stuff, so I need a motion to go ahead and take the lowest bid.
I'll make a motion to go for those things, for the siding.
Support. Motion made, support. Any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Hearing none, motion carries.
Can I have that information from files, please? Thank you.
For department, we have items, and the chief is here, and total needed is $4,150. You can see the action on items is to order a spin gear handle for the 2023 suction valve, $250 request for another 3 new firemen, and that'll bring you right up to your...
They'll give us 34 on a 35 also.
Okay. Are you looking for the other one? Okay. Then requesting $2,000 for the marching money for the tournament, and then 5 800 megahertz batteries for a total of $500. And pardon? Yeah. The total comes to $4,150. $1,400 of that will come out of the Sawyer expense that we get from the county. They'd like to give us $15,000 this year, so $1,500 of that will come out of that budget. Anything that I missed? Joe?
Separate?
You want separate action items for the 3 new, or can we just take another one? We can just take another one.
Unless there's any issue with the board members about grouping.
There are only 3 that we have. We're still looking for 1 more, so we don't have a whole lot of people applying for fire department.
We had a bunch, it's just that it's trying to decide the best candidate for the last one, so we're going to re-interview, go a little bit in-depth for the candidates.
They had a lot of candidates.
But this is what you requested.
Different than 3 now, but we're going to re-interview for the last position.
I'll make a motion that we pay these bills and hire the 3 new firemen, Tim Tollefson, Kyle Fowler, and Jacob Rolfe.
Support. Motion made and supported. Any other discussion? All in favor, say by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Same none. Tough keeping the old trucks running, huh?
Yeah.
10E is ambulance, and I believe Tara's here. There's some questions on it. Jane, you want to, well, we can do the action item, I guess. We're looking for 5 members, and
I think this is to send them to the next level. That means they have to, the specialists have to take this class and pass it by the end of December. We need 5 people to go, and the total for them to go would be $3,325. And then they have stipulations within the EMS that if you take this training, you have to give a certain amount of time back to the EMS. Understood. And so then $300. Yeah, $300 lawyer upon successful completion of the course and pass the NR. Can you explain that, Carl?
The National Registry is our state exam
The state came out a month ago and said anybody that's an EMT specialist will have until December 31st to take this bridge course. They're adding like 12 drugs to the specialist. If we do not take this course by December 31st, all 5 of us specialists on Forsyth EMS will lose our license. It will go down to a basic. So all these years that we have put in, did all this training, the state is not giving us that 3-year window. They're giving us till December 31st. With Heather, because she's not an active member, she's just getting onto the service, she has to actually pass and stay on our service for a year for her to get reimbursed for anything. So we're not asking for the township to pay for Heather's training, only to reimburse her if she gets on our service and she actually does the time for a year.
That's something that can change in the last 6 months, where you have to spend a year after you put money into them, you have to spend some time on our service.
Correct. So we're not just paying out for everybody's education. They become an EMT and then just move and get a job someplace else.
Appreciate that change.
So basically what we really need is to go ahead and approve, especially this class. When's the class going to start?
The end of August.
So that
It runs from August until the end of October.
I bet groups will be in this class. And right now, we're going to pay the $332.50 for Heather too, right?
No. She is going to pay it herself.
Oh, okay. And then we're going to, it says here we're going to pay her back upon successful completion of the course and passing the NR exam. And then she'll get $165.25 paid to her after 1 year service. So how much does this her training actually come?
The course itself is $550 per person.
Okay. I understand that more now.
Yeah. The state isn't giving us an option.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we pay the $3,325 for the 5 members to go for this training. Okay. So we don't have to repay Heather anything right now.
Well, we have to pay for the class.
Not for her.
Not for her. She pays it and then we reimburse, right?
Correct.
$3,325 motion. You put that in the motion?
Yes, it is.
I'll support it. Any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, carried none. The next item was to look at the possibility of filling some of the gaps, I believe, that are in the scheduling, what you call the scheduling, filling some of the gaps in the scheduling. And I spoke with Lynn today, and I think that we'll start working on to see what kind of costs are, because we have MetaRide now taking some of our calls that we were getting all before. So we want to break that down and see where we fall into that big picture on this at this point. So we will start looking at crunching some numbers, and we'll be bringing some of your people get involved with us on this to see how this thing's going to work out. So we'll put it in motion and get started on that. So.
Lynn will be gone for a couple weeks on vacation, so...
So am I.
Okay.
I believe that was all of it on your report.
Yeah, and the only reason why we were asking is because if we only have one person on our call schedule, we can't respond, and MetaRide's going to get that call.
Right. Next item was...
I would make a motion that we do.
Steve ran for repetition.
Steve Ren's left.
Yeah. He actually wasn't really running with us. I think he made to maybe 1 or 2 runs since he's gotten his license. He lives in Ishpeming, got married, had a baby. So.
Okay, the motion.
I made a motion.
I'll start. Motion made and supported. Any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, carried none, motion carried. Library.
Talk about that.
Right now, we're iPads. Right now, we're still crunching some numbers, and we're going to try to get as much money as we can to see if we can backfill this stuff out. Next item is 10F, library millage renewal. The library wants us to go and put it on the ballot for the renewal of their operating millage.
Correct.
And for, how long do you have that one?
I think it's 4965. That would have to go on in November, general election.
So we'll need a motion to go ahead and put it on the November ballot?
Yes, it's too late for August. It has to be for August.
We need a motion to go ahead and get this language set to go on the November election.
Make a motion.
I'll support it. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, hearing none, motion carries. That's just a renewal of which you already...
Actually, it's an early renewal.
Of which you already have, so...
Correct.
Let the public know that it's not something new.
Yeah.
Just to keep the library...
Well, there are no general elections coming up in 2013, so it doesn't make sense to run a special election for a renewal. If we can get it in November, like the police did, that would be good.
Next item, senior citizen training for $270. They have training that Julie needs to go to. And talk with Julie, and I need a motion to approve the senior citizen training.
I'll make that motion. I'll support it.
Motion made and supported. Any other discussion? All in favor, say the same aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, and motion carried. Next item is the police department, and talking to the chief, I really feel, board, that we need to give the police department as much help as we possibly can. And I think today you spent any time with Tim, and I spent some time with him, and they could use anything that we can come up with some extra money and to try to help to get a part-time police officer. And I think Lynn has been crunching some numbers to try to figure out what it's going to cost for a part-timer. We have this millage coming up in August, and hold on, I mean, we're going to start crunching some numbers. So if you see anything in that budget that you feel that we can go without, let me know, because I really feel that we need to bring on a couple more officers, at least some part-time people, because I mean, things are starting to happen around here that, I mean, we're...
You got part-time girl, or not, she's part-time or what?
Well, she's still in Chevalier's line, so she's working full-time, but she's still a part-timer. And then I got Jesse at 70 hours, and I think, I looked at the budget, I think we're going to move him up to a full 80 hours.
Right.
Because we're just getting swamped.
So we're very fortunate that the union is allowing us to use the part-timers. Before, they never allowed us to do that. So if we can get in here and get another part-timer to come in here and help them for, we speak of part-time, it might be 80 hours every 2 weeks or 40 hours a week, but we're not paying for the benefits. Of course, the disadvantage is that when we get trained, and sometimes they can move on, but I think we have to try to do whatever we can right now, at least through this June, July, and August, because those are going to be, we're going to into October, Tim. I mean, you can speak to it. I mean, that's the way I look at it, that, you know, if we can find some money in this budget, we need to find it. And we have to take it from some places to look at where maybe we can get some from here and give it to them, because I mean, I really feel that we need to up that up as much as we can. You guys keep getting that?
Where have we got some money, and then have you got something? You can pull it off, or...
Well, there's
I can pull it out of something else. I think right now, I think it's because of the part-time situation and how expensive they are, uniforms, frames, that it would be better to move Jesse up right now and even maybe give them some overtime would be cheaper, and hopefully the millage will pass and we can hire on a couple full-time people that we don't have to worry about spending all this upfront money and training them and having them leave. So my recommendation would be to up the overtime a little bit, or up to get the coverage. You're only 5 weeks away from the village, and see what happens. And then we can start looking at adjusting.
Put some feelers out to see if there's anybody out there. Start looking there too, so that when we get to village, we can just move in real quick.
So we've got 2 part-timers right now.
Basically, yeah. And the problem that we're at is with Mike Chevalier, they extend him out for another year on disability. No more comp. So our hands are tied there.
So we will pay the medical insurance for another year possible.
You figure another year he's going to be out?
They're giving him another year to try and get better.
Might never come back.
He might never come back, no. But the problem we're running into there now is in August or September, he's past his 2 years. So now to come back, he's actually loses his certification thing. So to come back, then he's going to have to go through the physical fitness part and the testing phase of that. Because that's to come back. So I don't know why disability is tying our hands like this.
You want to talk to the workers' compensation insurance representative?
No, they're God. When they say this is what they're going to do, this is what they do, and there's nothing we can do about it.
Generally, they look the same by outright, some favor.
But next year in July, they can say, well, we're going to give 1 more year. We just keep doing it. And we have nothing we can do. As far as I know. Maybe it's up here for Steve.
I would be willing to talk with the claims representative if you wanted to get that name and number over and see what they can tell me, and perhaps we can talk. I don't know what options there are.
All right.
So, okay, we're back to, so we got Jesse.
Jesse's working about 70 hours a week and bouncing all over every 2 weeks.
And who else is Christy?
Christy. Yeah, Christy is actually filling Mike's slot.
Is she full time?
Well, she's not full.
She's actually.
She's getting 80 hours a week,
80 hours
40 hours a week.
She's a part-time.
She's a part-time employee.
She doesn't get any
20 hours a week?
Huh?
20 hours a week?
40.
Yeah. But she doesn't get any benefits, or she's not in, up with the pay scale like the rest of them. Same thing with Jesse.
I don't know. We want to wait till...
Well, we should wait till the village, see if that goes through, then that'll make a whole difference to us. If it doesn't go through, then we have to go back and I think that we'll have to we're not going to go back and review this a little bit and go back and there could be some budget adjustments. I think that's going to be coming down I'll sit down with Lynn and we're going to come up with some budget adjustments, either maybe out of public works or some other places. But I feel at this point in time that the police department we need to help them out. And maybe it'll slow down. I don't know if it will or not. We got to get it up here. And I think if you look at for the population, they look at 1 per 1,000 full-time. Has it changed any at one time? There's a formula out there, and I don't know if that pertains to rural or not.
It's normally 1 per 1,000, but there again, your 1 per 1,000 is in an area like Nagani, where they've got like 18 square miles. They've got 10 officers. We're covering 200 square miles, 6.
We need to look at something, so go through your last year's budget, see if there's anything in there that we can, I know $2,500, but that's not going to go very far. It's a start. There's a start. There's some other monies in there too that we can take that we can do so.
The way things are going right now is we're just reacting.
Right. I know you're just reacting.
We can't be proactive. We can't go out and look for anything. We're also being fighting now. At any given time, our guys got 4 or 5 reports tonight. Just trying to see it.
You know alone because I've been getting the police reports from Market City. It's taken 3-4 weeks to get through.
The economy drives our business, and when it's down, it's really hard.
get a chance to just go through your last year's budget, or this year's budget, and see if there's anything in there that, I mean, we've got some money in our contingency fund, we have some money there that we have, we got some road money that we may not use all our road money, we have to pull some of that, make some budget adjustments, but I think that right now, that seems to be a higher priority than probably doing some roads that we had planned for, so. Keep us informed, that's all, Tim, and we'll sit down and try to work something out for the next meeting. 10J is Boulevard, and you all see that Eric's been with some part-timers. Eric, could you explain these hoses that you're taking up, that make sure that the public understands that these what they are and what they were used for?
Yeah, we're pulled up all the soaker hoses. They were initially put in on that project for roughly a 5-year period. That was our life expectancy, just to get the plantings going and everything settled in, which they worked for their purpose. They're kind of dry, rotted, and they're not much good anymore, so that was one of the reasons we pulled them up. Besides the look of them, they also just weren't going to serve the purpose we'd use them for anymore. We've been doing some work we're going to start tomorrow, pulling out some more dead trees. We're breaking up, we pulled those hoses out. We're going to look at cleaning that area up a little bit. It's becoming kind of an eyesore, even worse than originally, whether you like it or not. I've received some pricing on possibly putting sod in the first section, which would be by Rodney's Pizzeria, Wells Fargo Bank, and the last section up by Catholic Church. Some sod, some little different layout with some mulch, and a couple different ideas the local person has gave us and brought to the board for their decision or thought. It's nothing set in stone. It was just some ideas to get some pricing. We'll still have the sprinkler system in there. We would have to lay some in-ground mother piping for pop-up sprinklers, but all the water is still in there. All we took out was what they call soaker hoses. So I think, whatever they do, I think it would look very nice to have sod and grass and mulch and those, and we're looking at possibly starting with a couple, one on each end, and doing more in the future. That's their decision.
Now, are you taking out the shrubs that are there, like the blueberry bushes and all that?
Yeah, in the first two, yes. The non-producing blueberry bushes that are out now.
One of the things that I want to hear, and Adam, who does a lot of landscaping, put this together for us, on some trees that the leaves start to curl.
Forgot about that.
And I asked him, I says, what's happening here? And he went in and found ladybugs. Ladybugs all over the leaves, and of course he said that tree is, what did say, 50-50 chances of that being living. And so there's going to be some things that we have to take out because of transferring disease from one tree to the other. He's giving you some sketches here on the very first one by Rodney's and up the other one by the Catholic Church. Probably the most calls I get at home or on the street is this boulevard. Is that it looks like it doesn't look good, put it that way. And there is some cost in here, and what I would recommend doing on this is taking some of the road money that we had planned to use that we probably won't be doing this year, taking that money and put it towards this project, which is still in the same playing field as far as I'm concerned. It's not roads, but it's the heart of our town. When people drive through, they see the boulevard, and people in college says, God, it's about time you guys are doing something with that. Please take out the dead trees on the sidewalks. They look like, you know what. So I said, Eric's going to pluck the dead trees with, I believe Adam's going to go through with him and says, okay, this is not a good tree, this one's got to come out, this one's got to. So I mean, I'm taking a person that's professional and having him go through there and help us out. He's a good kid, so he's done a lot of work for us, and I trust him. He does a lot of work for Marquette. So I mean, I think I go to those people that have done this before. So my recommendation would be take out the road money to fund these two areas, and to start off with that with this year, and maybe the next year do 2 more, and the year after that do 2 more. You can't do it all at one time. I wish we could, but I think we should do the first and last. We have the final opinion, we have drawings, so what we're going to do. We got two prices on it for the one at the let's see, one of them is for $5,625, the other one is $4,975. And that would be that he would go back. Yeah, well, the one by the Catholic Church up there, the very first one by Audrey's and that area, is quite a bit longer than the one by Rodney's. That's the one that's up there on the, yeah.
Curves around.
Right, that's quite a bit longer than the other ones. So I'm just
Joe,
saying that.
one other thing, Adam he had to be in Escanaba, otherwise he was going to comment if anybody had any questions, but one thing he did say is, now those prices, like all of them, that's the highest. Now, he just drew that sketch just to give ideas. If somebody has an idea and they want to change a mulch area or change something, the price will reflect it. That was just if you went with what that little simple sketch that he has there. I mean, there might be other things that somebody, you could show that to somebody else where they would say, well, why don't you do this, or why don't you, So that's always that option. That's not anything set in stone there, and the price would reflect it. If you're going to do some more or less sod, obviously probably going to be a little less money in that, And also, he would install, with our help, and obviously we would buy the sprinkler system. He's done it before. He would install that. That's also in there.
What this includes is topsoil haul to site, topsoil level, topsoil fine rake, Class A sod installed, sod hard rolled, hardwood mulch installed, mulch spread, black plastic edging on the border of the mulch alarm, That's on both of them. So, I mean, it's just not a matter of raking up the dirt and turning around and doing anything. So, it's putting sod back in there, putting mulch back in there. Hook the sprinkler system back up would help with us. And it's something that's real easy to maintain. The first 20 feet on both ends will be mulch, and that would be for like a planting area. We can plant flowers in there. The beautification committee, if you want to put flowers in there, you can put flowers in there. It's just a start to try and see what kind of response we get. If the public likes it, we continue on. If they don't like it, they come up with some other suggestions, and I think we have to look at that. But I'd like to start somewhere, because right now it looks pretty shabby.
I'd like to say something about the planting areas.
Yes.
Unless you start getting some younger people in beautification committee, we're all over 60 years old, and there's not that many of us. Don't think women that are in there now are going to be able to keep up with weeding and planting all these flowers.
We can get some annuals in it and keep coming up year after year.
Perennials? I think so. And the other question I have is, how will the sod take all the salt? Because up at the clubhouse where they salted all around the sidewalk, all that sod turned on and died and they replaced it.
I did talk with Adam about that, and I guess he can't predict. He said the only good thing is they don't put the snow on the boulevard.
Right.
It all goes to the sidewalk. So that'll be a help. Now, is it a guarantee that salt's not going to go in there? Absolutely not.
It's still going to get splashed on.
Exactly.
During the thaws, cars are riding up.
And he doesn't know for sure, but he thinks that the big problem with that spot at the clubhouse was it was constant. The sidewalk's pitched that way. There's salt, how much we put down up there, and it's just constant run. Now, I know he said he was talking about in Escanaba and I think Munising, places that have a setup something like we do on the road and then maintain the sod. But I mean, obviously, there's no, I don't know how to say it. Yeah. The guess is that most of the snow and salt is to the sidewalk. Not that they're not going to get some in there, but I don't think it'll be constant like the clubhouse, where it's just non-stop.
So you see, you get the proposals, and the public, this is what it looks like. It's hard to see. It's a starting point, and if any of you people want to get involved to help us design some of this stuff, feel free to come on board. If come on down and meet with me, we can go there, and some of you people may be very experts at some of this stuff, and can help us along, but I'd like to get started somewhere, and to me, that seemed like the first and the last would be a starting point, and there's, well, 5 more blocks, or 6 more blocks, and there's quite a few more blocks yet to go. So, what's your pleasure?
I would like to make a motion that we go ahead with these 2 sections of the boulevard and see how it works out.
We take money out of the roads?
Yes, taking money out of the roads that we had set aside so that...
You talked about today from
We have $160,000 budgeted for roads this year. We already are planning spending $15,000 to $16,000 on Blue Lakes. 100 of that, 160 is coming out of the revolving fund.
So we take this from the revolving fund?
No, just take it out of the road fund. We want to leave that 100 in the revolving fund, so I would imagine we're going to hopefully do those.
Would it be cheaper to seed, just to put topsoil and seed the whole thing?
We could ask them that, we could ask them if you want to hydro seed that, we could ask them that. He's more flexible.
Topsoil?
I don't know, he didn't mention anything about hydro seeding, just that.
Yeah, we've talked about hydro seeding. The biggest problem he had with, and a lot of the work, not just the sodding, is the accessibility with all the traffic is coming off. He's got to do everything from end to end if you do this, and he said that would be to hydro seed it, we'd have to shut the road down at some point, you know, on either side. I mean, it's a possibility. I mean, he'll give you a price on that too, you know.
So then you need more topsoil on it?
A little more because, you know, I mean, there's something we talked about on the side.
You know, there's something else we might want to consider. I don't know whether there's no Debbie Paul,
Correct.
Mulch.
She's got that mulch up there?
That's not mulch, that's fertilizer.
Yeah, that would be under the side. Oh, yeah, I mean, for like
Because we might get it like, low cost or free.
Yeah, fertilizer, stuff like that, you have a motion, I need support. I'll support it. Any other discussion?
What are we gonna do now, Joe? You got double all now?
Yeah.
$10,600.
Right in that area, right? That would be the most.
I just noticed
Well,
I mean, like on the edge here?
yeah, you know, on the inside of the wall, we come over here.
I think that's being on top.
So do I. But I mean.
That could be.
I mean, what is that? You're gonna get that salt.
The salt, when the plow plows the snow, so it goes into goes to the right. The sod that's on, goes for all the sod that's between the sidewalk and the road. None of that sod is all burned up. All the salt goes that way. So when you look down the road, because I look at it, I've walked it about 4 times, the salt goes to the right. All the snow goes to the right with salt, but all the grass on the right-hand side going up the boulevard, all that grass is still living.
Yeah, but there isn't any grass in the way that turns off.
Beyond
Like
the
in my
sidewalks,
yard?
beyond the sidewalks, you know what that
In
fence
my
is?
yard?
Correct. It's not all white like it's the clubhouse. The clubhouse is because you had so much salt there, and you're thinking that's going to go. Plus, when you do in the wintertime, you plow your sidewalk, outside the sidewalk, you get frost burns. As far as that goes, I mean, but if you want to, if the board wants to table that, that's fine with me for more information. It was something that I'd like to.
You're not gonna get the job. You're not gonna do it. When you try to see different places.
It's expensive, but again, I still think that's one of the things on the boulevard that looks kind of ugly. I mean, that's where I hear a lot of complaints. This boulevard, kind of shabby looking, it looks a little kind of things. We have to put this
I like
together
it
real
because
quick.
it's better than it used to be.
Well, better than what, I mean, it's still bad looking now, but I mean, it's something that I think should be addressed moving forward.
Okay, I'm
You have a motion to I supported it, so you have a motion to support it. Any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Okay.
One opposed.
This is set in stone, we can adjust this a little bit.
Anything you want.
Can't exceed this amount of money, remember, just can't exceed.
But I mean, if anybody's looking at it, that's what he wants, is, hey, he wants to do what we want him to do, or whoever. So if you want to change it with more mulch, if you want to ring the whole thing with mulch.
Around the edge, right on the edge by the curve between before you hit the grass, put stone.
Anything, yeah, I mean.
But just remember, you can't sit there and procrastinate too long because summer's going to be gone. You know, then we sit there until next winter. So I mean, you know, if you want to do something.
Well, which I do second.
That's what I look at. We take a shot at these two sections. If it works, fine. If it doesn't, then we'll do adjustments.
And they're the first two people seeing it.
And I'd like to bring this back to the beautification committee too, because it's going to be constant weeding and upkeep of all these photos. And I know right now we just don't have volunteers taking care of this. I know.
Next item on the agenda. I got 10 and 40, but I'll pick that up when they're later on. Neil, you got 10L, a pickup loader. He said that the Public Works wants a pickup loader down there. And a compressor. Okay.
Compressor about $2,000, motor $1,500, that's $1,300.
I like your 3,500.
3,500.
I think it's one of those things where that I believe Eric has the money in his budget. Give me some estimates on it and bring it back to us. And I believe there is some money left on that forklift, which we didn't, which we're not going to get, but that's where some of that money would come.
A little bit on
adjustments.
A little bit on that compressor, which Neil knows, Joe knows a little bit about it. Daryl would have no problem, and that was our intention, obviously, to use the one at the county building. He's worried that tank, you know, he said, I can clean that tank. Obviously, I can't get it brand new, I can clean that. He said, I'm just worried, even with an inline filter, that stuff's going to get through and start ruining air tools. He said, it's not because he doesn't want to use it, he's afraid, you know, that it's...
Yeah, you can't, that thing might blow up on you too.
It's got a tank.
No, the air compressor would have only
tank.
No, the thing with this is that the motor is a three-phase motor.
Yeah.
We would add a change.
We've got a single-phase system over there. The county had three-phase in that building, so the motor has to be replaced the first time. You can't rewire it. You got to replace the motor. And that's, I think he checked on the motor because I asked him, you know, find the price of the motor. It was almost $700-800 just for the motor. And now you got a tank that's full of. Because I looked at the tank, it's all full of.
The water's sat there for 30 years.
Eric, could you give me some estimates on the motor and the air compressor, and we can talk about it next month? I believe that's the end of the action items. Discussion, the water system project, and we were turned in enough petitions. I believe they're still going through mine to verify the
There's no signatures.
we made sure that we had enough to certify it. There were enough registered voters for that one. So the water project is put on hold at this particular time. It'll go to the board of the people. And if the people in the township, or in the Little Lake, Princeton, Austin, that are not users voted down, the water project will not move forward. The only way we can move that forward is to raise the water rates higher, and we pay for it ourselves instead of getting, what was the interest rate on it?
225.
275. So if we go to the local units, the local banks to get it, the rate's going to be a lot higher, and the water system improvement will probably cost us more money if it gets carried down at the village. And it will go on the ballot in November for the whole township to approve If the township says no on the bond issue, then it goes down, and then we have to figure out another way to turn around to improve our system. And the only other way is that we have to raise the water rates to get money to improve the system, because there isn't enough money right now to do any improvements. And the reason for the system would be to extend our services and to satisfy DEQ in their way of telling us how to do this. And it would be extensions and loops that would the infrastructure, not just the water meters, but they work for the infrastructure also. So at this point, we're at an idle stage.
We have a lot of money invested already.
Yes, we have a lot of money invested, but that money that's invested is not totally lost, because what it is that we didn't have easements on a lot of this project. Now we have we're getting down. I think we only have 2 easements, I believe, left to get. And then we'll have easements on all the water lines that are in our system, which is one of their prerequisites DEQ set in. So we have a lot of other expenses that are in there that hopefully it passes the millage, and then we can get our project done and get our infrastructure up to where it should be, and then get a fairer way of billing people instead of a flat rate for meters. We get a meter that tells you exactly how many gallons you use. Based on the gallons, you can pay what you use, not an average of whatever it costs.
So we got to get out to the people and let them know what's going on as far as who's paying for this thing. And you're using what paying for it.
Exactly. I mean, but it's the way the government sets up, where you can have what's called a referendum. If you get enough signatures, it can go on down. So that's just the way it is. The next thing is that if it doesn't go, then you have to go back to a different program, raise the water rates up if you have to satisfy. You have to do the infrastructure. Don't get it wrong. When a pipe breaks, Eric has to go down and check. How many hydrants out there right now, Eric, that are not really working, that we've been holding off on because we thought if this water project goes through, it's all brand new hydrants.
Yeah, quite a few.
So I'm saying instead of buying hydrants now that may not be part of that bid, because when you bid the project, you may bid a water hydrant, and it may not be the same one that the bid comes in with. So I mean, we don't want to go out and spend this money, but if it does not pass, then we're going to have to go back and replace the hydrants that aren't working right now, and then raise the rates. That's all you can do to cover the cost.
That's why I think we should have some public hearings now while people have this fresh in their minds, so that we can go out and everybody, hopefully people will come to the hearings more than they usually do, so that we can present the whole program to them and show them exactly what's happening and why we're doing this at this point and what the alternative would be.
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea too.
I'd like to have 2 public hearings, one out at Sawyer at the Air Museum and one here in town, probably at the clubhouse, which gives us the most room. Or at the school if we figure we'll get a lot.
You have just a few months to do that.
I know, that's
And
why.
the public hearing, I'd have to ask them, the engineers to come down to do the public hearing, because they have all the numbers. And remember, the bond is a best educated guess by engineers, not a bid. So in other words, if the bids are for them a lot less. If the bids were over, you wouldn't do the project. You know, do some adjustments.
The other thing I would like are those engineers, when they come down, I would like something in writing better than this, that outlines the project, so that it'll be a handout to give to people too.
They'll give you anything you want,
Yeah.
you know? I mean, you tell
That's
them.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I would like something very, yes, user-friendly, like I always tell my customers at work, here's your insurance policy, but here's the language that explains it so you can understand it, and I can understand it.
I don't think we're coming at it. That's the cost of the deal down there anyway. I think it's an investment. You'll allow your way too much for the cost.
Well, that's it. How long, Scott? But you know how long we get hold this interest rate?
I think we can probably, I hope for a year, not
Okay.
longer.
So we don't have to
check back.
We don't have to lose it, so we can hang on to
I
it.
think it's a year.
But I think we should have to do this now, while it's fresh in everybody's minds.
What's the board's pleasure? I have no problem. I have no problem trying to set up 2 hearings. I would like to get it in the summertime. You're not going to get a lot of people if you get weather like tonight.
No, I don't know know this is a hot subject right now.
Hey, you want to make pick a date and schedule it?
I'll tell you, I wouldn't mind if you brought the water line down my street, because I'm tired of turning my faucet on and getting rust coming on it constantly.
We can bring it on.
It would be nice to...
Come on, 25, if you come.
How about we,
Think about it.
how long do we have to put notice out? We might as well not next week's show out, 4th of July and everything. So...
Why don't we have some dates set for next month?
July?
Let's have the next meeting, date set. We'll talk to the engineers and see if they can...
We want to wait until the end of July?
You got until, you're not going to have no decision made until November. I don't want to bring something in.
Yeah, it's all forgotten.
All forgotten. I mean, yeah, it's a question of people's
But I
mind.
don't want it to get mixed in with the
All the
election
presidential stuff.
in August either.
No.
I'd rather have it in July sometime.
We got 5 months. We have 5 months to get together.
No.
Shouldn't take that long. How long do we have to vote that price?
Public hearing?
18 hours.
Okay, so why don't we talk to the architect, see if they can come, say, the week after the 4th of July?
They'll come whenever you want to, I mean, really. Don't set it around
Making
that.
sure they're not on vacations or
Wow.
something.
There's enough of them involved in the project though that they'll be able to.
And I think what people want to see are figures. What is the burden cost?
That's why I want something in writing, a handout that we can give to people, that they can follow along with them when they're explaining, you know.
How is it?
So why don't we...
And what all
And
it's
what are
going to
the-
include. It's not just
Not meters.
Right.
It's the whole...
So why don't we shoot for the
infrastructure.
30th of July?
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question to the guy who circulated the petition, just see what kind of response he got as he went around? I mean, you don't have to ask, don't get me wrong. I just want to see what you got back from feedback, because you always said that you're for the project, for people voting. So are you willing to share some of that feedback? Stop in my office. Are you willing to share it here to the board? I would appreciate it.
Both. I volunteered the last board meeting when I talked to you. Mrs. Nordine has hit it right on the head. You've got to get out and PR. If you don't do it, they won't pass it. Just that simple. And you have to put out information. 9 out of 10 people that I personally talk to don't trust you guys. You don't put out anything about it. You say we're going to dig up this street. We're all going to have meters, and that's about all they get. If you show them a picture, explain the system is bad, it's got to be done, have the DEQ guy put his information and what's required into it, and do the PR. They will pass it.
See, I guess I go back, they had their public hearings back some time ago before I was appointed.
But how many people were at them public hearings?
I couldn't tell you because I wasn't here.
I've got them on tape someplace.
Yeah, but a full house
But
was
they didn't put
that
out,
one
they
room
didn't
of the
put out the
clubhouse.
information.
Not like...
After public hearings.
Anyhow, I just appreciate
But
your
it's the
information.
PR. Mrs. Nordine's got it good.
So we'll do
Right on that.
We'll do a public hearing and have some dates set up and just get them educated.
Like, start from the 3rd week of July,
I won't be here.
Oh, you want to be
No,
here?
I'll be in Oshkosh.
Okay, what about you?
We have fun days if you want to help them here.
Well, Monday is the end of the long
We're the second week of July.
Is the fund days going to go on this year? Kind of fun days?
Yeah.
Why couldn't the township have a booth down there? There's a lot of information, people, they go to that. I know it's a fun day, but there's a lot of people that don't come to the board meetings, they don't go to the websites, they don't talk to you people. And if they're walking around having fun in the park, and you guys have a bunch of information there, fun information.
I'll be working for that. I'll handle it.
Great idea.
Okay.
That's a good idea. Okay, we got that. Next item, I'll try to get hold of DCI, UPA, and see if I can get a second week on July, in the second week of July for a public hearing.
We want to do this right, with a nice line here, colored, draft, and
Next item was a clock tower presentation. I tabled that because what we had some real good estimates on to the clock tower group, and I think now hit about $40,000 in their fund, and we got pretty close to something like around $75,000, $80,000. I got a new proposal today for 90 cents. I said no, the board can't afford that. And what I'm looking for is maybe in another month or a couple weeks, I'm going to get the engineering company as well as the contractors come down, because there are some things that we can build ourselves to save some money to put that clock tower back up. The committee is committed to, if we loan them the money, they're committed to pay that money back to the board. And they have some companies that we can go to, but we can't go to them. Bonnie told me, actually we have some hard numbers, and we get 50% of the money raised. Then we can go to Concrete, ask some money. We can go to the Native Americans, ask some money. Hot Lions and some of the other companies on the base. So we're not too far away from getting the clock tower, not exact from what we had before, but very close. It's a lot shorter, but it's still not real good. So that's where we're at with the clock tower. Salvation Army, I think Kevin touched on that. EDC board, they owe us $133,000 some odd dollars. Just imagine what we could do with that money. If we had that $133,000 that day, they want us in, and they're only paying us $600, and I think it's time to send them a good letter and just say we want a second on that building. And if they sell the building and they don't give us the money, we can do all the crime we want. If we get a second on the building, at least we get some teeth.
So we got into that once already.
We haven't pushed for a second.
I had a chat with Amy, and she was kind of incredulous about, why are you asking if we can pay that amount of money?
I'll get the exact number from Henry, and then we'll get is that what the board wants to do, pursue a second on the building?
Well, their image is important to them, and if I start talking about suing them, that might have some persuasive effect because of the damage.
Is that county commissioner not? Put the county commissioner back up on the board. What do you want to do, Bart?
Like I have an influence on him. I think we should go.
You can give me the information about the building, and I will bring it to you and say, here's our option.
Okay, cool.
You got a hand up over there.
Stupid question, what does EDC stand for?
Economic Development Corporation.
Thank you.
You were on TV the other day, an ad, while they're helping businesses get started, and helping funding get started.
I guess I'll move into public comment because I'll pick up the employees at the end here. Any public comment on this table? Yes?
Yeah, I got one more thing I'd like to put out there. If you can break this project up, this water project up into, say, a street or two at a time, and talk to people that live in that area. That's one thing. The other thing is, I found out that people on the base and people in Little Lake, the way the law is written, the registered voters there they talk to are upset with other things that hasn't been done, and they signed the petition, even though it didn't affect them monetarily or in any way. The ones in Little Lake are on wells, the ones on KI are on a different water system. But if you could put up a thing like a window and have a bulletin board on it and put stuff at these different places, you'd only need one, say in Little Lake, around the store there someplace that people could go up and read what's going on, and then maybe a couple on the base. It would help a lot. Because they don't get the information. That's the biggest complaint. We don't know what they're doing, and they don't want to take the time to come to a board meeting. If they live on KI, there's other problems. Same thing in Little Lake. So it's mainly information, Joe, it really is.
Would people use a computer hookup if there were, say, minutes?
Some of them do.
That's our post.
This goes on the internet, and I get all kinds of comments in the comment section on .org. You're welcome to use that. There's nothing to it. 3 clicks. You can type on there anything you want. There's a calendar on there.
But that's a way of disseminating what goes on here.
Well, we put up what people, when they make comments, we try to answer what we can. A lot of times we tell them, talk to a board member. But not everybody has a computer either, so.
I'll just give you an example. Back a few weeks ago, there was an article in the Mighty Journal, letter to the editor. Forsyth Township doesn't receive any grants. Well, that person doesn't realize that we received probably in the last 7 or 8 years, probably close to $3 million in grants.
Yeah.
Evidently, she hasn't lived here that long, or she doesn't really know what's going on in her townships. I mean, it's hard to. I have no problem saying, okay, if we get the agendas, the police department can post the agendas at Little Lake someplace out there, they can post the agendas somewhere on the base. You know, I have no problem doing that because I think if you have concerns, you ought to be here, just like the streetlights. I mean, we appreciate when people come in and say, hey, there's a streetlight out. Well, fine, you can pull them over if you can, if not on cops will do it, then we get it done. There's no sense of paying for something that you're paying for and you don't have. You know, it comes to the point where I think government, nobody trusts government. And I think it's just one of those things where it's a hard thing to overcome other than it can be you got to be more transparent. I think we have to become more transparent in all aspects and try to tell people that, you know, here's what we're doing. If you don't like it, tell us. You know, bring it to us. I mean, we're willing to change in that. And it's like this project. 5 of us get together and make a decision. And that might not be opposed to the public, but if the public doesn't give us the information, we don't know either. I mean, we have public comment at the beginning, public comment at the end. So we appreciate the public comment. I don't think it's never a negative comment. Nothing's negative. You just want us to change. That's why somebody comes in and says, hey, we need to talk to you. It's not because they're complaining. They want us to change something. If we can be changed, then we should do it. So, I mean, I can see what we can do for a little late at least. Yes?
Can you send out a flyer with the time and the date of this meeting for the water meters?
To all the residents in Forsyth
Well,
Township?
who's ever on the water system, the ones that get the bill?
Well, that's not going to help us any because the people that are on the water system could vote for it. It's the other people in the township, Little Lake, all of Sawyer, all of the camps are going to vote on this. So if they vote no, and all the people that are on the system have to pay for it. Nobody else pays for this water improvement project but the people on the system.
Right, just a flyer for the date and time you want to have the meeting, that's all.
I mean, that's...
We can put it out someplace.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll do that and try to get as much information as we can. Because, I mean, I'd like to hear from the people that have to pay for it. I'd like to hear what they got to say. And if they say that, yes, they want it, hopefully then they can convince the people that don't have to pay for it to vote for it. And it's like, it's pretty tough to get those other people that, they see that much money, they say, well, my taxes are going to go up. Nothing to do with your taxes. But that's just the way people are looking at things today. So.
Yeah, it's rough.
Thank you. Chuck.
Joe, I really don't understand the need for this petition at all. The gentleman came around with it, and we briefly talked, and I had been at the public hearings. I knew through discussions with you folks what was going on. I live in Sawyer. It could have cost me a dime. Except he misrepresented not the petition, but what it was going to cost us, and I'm sure he did that to many other people. I eventually asked him to leave because what he did, and I suggest to him that he withdraw that petition because the information he was putting out has nothing to do with us at Sawyer. We're not going to be stuck with this at all. It's for you folks in Gwynn, and you're going to bear the burden of the cost in Gwynn. Am I correct?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Now, why are we, when this was all said and done, all of a sudden, was it an exercise in civics? Maybe that's what it was, because he has a right to do this. For what? What's to be gained by this? Maybe you can answer me that.
Well, I tried to explain to you out on the base there. When I knocked on the door, I introduced myself.
Yes.
And I also said I was circulating a petition that had to do with the water system project in Gwynn. Okay?
And you also told me that it could affect us because of the fair faith and credit of the township. In other words, they're voting a bond. You certainly told me that.
I did not. I never said anything like that.
Hold it up. We could sit here and discuss.
But I suggest you withdraw that because it doesn't affect the people out any place else other than Gwynn. Withdraw your petition, let that project go forward.
That project's not going forward. We're going to have to vote on it. That was my whole point.
That's the thing, that the people that are going to have to pay for it can vote yea or nay. The people that don't have anything to do with it can vote nay, and it stops the progress of the water system in Gwynn, unless you can get the people in the community, and most people see a $5 million bond issue on a ballot. You saw what they did with the library. It doesn't take long, and by God, you get hit pretty damn hard. And then you go back to square one. I mean, we can educate them as much as we can, saying their taxes are not going to go up. They don't trust government, Chuck. I mean, we trust government because, you know, they see what's happening all the time. People say, well, why are you spending that kind of money on this one? You want police money. Well, there's certain things that you have to do in the community to keep the community nice, to get more taxes, to get people to move into your community. So, I mean, everybody has an idea how to spend money. That's why we're here. You tell us how you want us to spend that money, and we'll do the best job we can. I mean, like I say, it's government's right. Go and put a petition out. You did it. You got enough signatures, so we're in the stall. So where I go from here, I have no idea. I don't know if Kevin has any ideas on that, but right now I just got to wait till after the election. Hopefully we'll get it passed. If we don't get it passed, then we just have to go back to something else.
And Joe, there were just as many signatures in Gwynn and New Swansea and Princeton and Austin as there was at K.I. Sawyer and Little Lake.
You had no choice. You had to get all the qualified voters. It wasn't
Yeah, that's the way the law reads. All the qualified voters.
So what are you going to do? You know.
It's time over with, and we just have to take it from this point on. Stop now. So we have to go on and bring it to the public, like Jane says. Maybe we can educate them enough to turn around and see if we can get it through. If we can't get it through, then we're going to have to turn around and figure out how we're going to do our infrastructure repairs. The only thing I can see is that the water rates will have to go up to cover the cost of the repairs. And we won't be able to get the interest rate that we have now to do it. So it's just one of the things that people can vote no on it. It's not going to affect them in village in the way at all. It's just us users that have to be actually.
So the money comes out of, it's a user fee only, the water trust.
That's exactly what it is.
It doesn't come off the general budget.
It's a revenue bond, strictly revenue generated, revenue bond. For the only ones that have to pay for it are people that use it.
And I explained that to people, too.
I was looking for a lot of those, and
So I'm just saying that,
he
I don't
explained
know,
it to everybody.
were you approached by it? Did you sign it? Did you explain that way to me? Is that the way it was explained to you? Did you sign it at Brown Store? Did Kathy explain that to you that way? Okay.
I didn't sign it.
So I'm just saying that, you see, you sign a petition that has no bearing on your dollar whatsoever, but it penalizes the people who have the system.
We heard it come out of the general fund. No. But that's why I signed it.
It's a water, it's a...
But I'm telling you, that's why a person would, if you feel as you thought that.
I know from experience what bad PR on both sides will do. I know bad PR on a board will do. I've seen a $5 million project sunk for I work because of bad PR on our board's part. They did not get the information out there. They let rumors run rampant instead of correcting it when they had a chance to correct it. So, I mean, it is important to have your public meetings, and you have to get it all to people who are in outlying areas like we are. It doesn't affect you. It's only going to cost us, you know, in a way. And, I mean, that is a very good idea. I mean, as many meetings as it takes, as much time as it takes, if that's what you need.
Yeah,
specify.
And you can pass the word that we're going to have hearings, please come out.
I mean,
Well, you're going to get a chance to vote on November. You're going to vote in November, probably. You'll know what the real is.
Yeah.
What it is now. So you can make a decision in November on how you want to vote.
Right.
The biggest thing is that, you know, if it gets turned down, then the people, everybody wins. Not everybody, only you.
Only us.
You guys will not be affected by that. Only we can't take jail operating money to fund the water system. I can't do that. If I can do that, you'd be running right out of office tomorrow because you can't use general operating money. General operating money is used for like roads and stuff like this here.
And everyone
Everybody benefits by it. The only ones that are real losers are now is going to be the water system people because you won't have water. You can't expand the system right now because DEQ doesn't allow it.
We have too many leaks.
And the other thing is that we can discuss this all night long.
Joe, the sad thing is, they lose, but nobody gains. Who's going to gain waiting until November, possibly losing that? There are no winners, there's only losers.
Yes, ma'am.
I just say a real quick thing, along the same lines as they've done, and said, I really think, I love the idea of the public hearings, that's a good idea, but it was summertime, people are gone, taking vacations, they're not going to hear about it or whatever. I think a mailing to the people that it's going to affect, that if there's any way, I know mailing is expensive, but if there's something, once they have the meeting, for those that maybe couldn't get to the meeting, and then they get that mailing, then they can have it in their hand, they can look at it, they can then, well, this is the way I want to vote in November.
But now, we really do have to get it out to everybody now, because everybody's going to vote on it.
It's the full township.
But for those that maybe
We don't mail
the
the tax.
meetings, that
We don't mail them all the time.
you can mail it out with the water bill or whatever.
They're only the users get it.
The only users get that. See, the thing is,
That's
the
what's
water.
going to affect, right?
Yeah, but all the people are going to be,
The whole
it's going to be on
township votes
the
on
ballot
it.
for everybody in the township to vote.
We should put up a thing and put it in their office.
Can't you send to the post office occupants? I mean,
I'll get,
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand.
That's where I would read it, and I would have it.
yeah, and as soon as we get these flyers together, you know, we'll see them, take a bunch of them and give them to your neighbors. And, you know, so they know.
They know what's going on, and when they go to the election, they can say, okay, well, I either want to vote for this or I
And you
don't.
know, when we get these flyers done, I'll try and get them out to like, maybe the upfront, let us put them in their lobby, maybe ground floor.
Bulletin board.
And bulletin
So you
board.
give some to me, I'll get a crew out in Sawyer to go door to door, and although you're
They
wearing
are
my
good on
shoes out.
Sawyer. When they have something going, they hit every door for something. That's how that fishing derby was so great.
Okay, let's move on. Last row back there. Any comment? Next row, any comment? Yes.
I have a comment and a question. The comment, I like the boulevard the way it is, don't mess with it. The second thing, you do too?
Yeah, I live on it.
I can't stand the thought of spending all that money to plant grass that you're now going to have to cut, but never mind, that's okay. Is Kevin going to write the ballot language for the library readable? And have we discussed the duration?
I was wondering about that myself, because that task wasn't assigned.
Right, the language. Is there any other back there? Yeah, I'll pick you up.
I would just like to request a closed session.
Yes, I'll be there. Any question here? Hearing none, then I'll close the closed session, public comment, and we'll go into closed session on employee situation. We'll take a couple of break.